Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Mortgage Coach coaching call. Every Tuesday morning, 9 o'clock Pacific, we're here to deliver the mortgage industry's best weekly sales meeting. My name is Dave Savage. I'm the CEO of Mortgage Coach. If anybody is new to our community, this is the first time you've been on a call, you are family, you are friends, you are part of our team. So connect with me on LinkedIn and make sure you connect to Mortgage Coach on Facebook page. I am just so honored to be, the leader of this community. We've got so many amazing Mortgage Coach members. These are just little screenshots of over 100 testimonial videos, reference videos that we've received from you as members, and it's just so much fun. Last week we had an awesome guest, Ken DeLeon, the #1 real estate agent in America out of 1 million realtors. It's already approaching 300 million in real estate volume. The guy is just amazing, and he's got an amazing life story. If anybody's on this call and you were not on last week's call, make sure you watch the recording in our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, put in Mortgage Coach, make sure you subscribe to our channel, and make sure you watch that video. If you didn't see it, it was awesome. He's an amazing leader. So again, urge you to like us if you don't already. Couple heads up, I want to make sure everybody on this call have not been missing all the amazing innovations in our Rate Watch TV. So Dan Rawich does a morning video by 7 o'clock in the morning. Dan's doing a 3 to 4 minute breakdown on the marketplace. Really, an hour or two of CNBC all in 2 minutes to 4 minutes for a mortgage professional so that you can be a leader to realtors and you can be a leader to home buyers. And then we have Bill Hart. If you have not seen this video, he's averaging about a weekly update. He's putting in Coach Bill Hart's Real Connections, and it's all about realtor strategies. So we really, at the beginning of the year, took a focus that we wanted to help you be better leaders to realtors, and Bill Hart is focusing his content around that. And then if you have not seen the recent videos from Todd Duncan, Carpe Diem with Todd Duncan, my partner Greg Wexler, who really manages this product for Mortgage Coach, has just done an amazing job of finding amazing talent, people that have a great voice, that are passionate about video, and delivering unique insights through video. So Todd Duncan has been pretty active in the community. Our most recent launch, Ken Perry's Compliance Matters. So to me, this is important for a few reasons. One, I think every loan officer, you're licensed. Compliance better be important to you. This isn't just the job of the CEO and the executive team. Your license is on the line now. And obviously everybody who's in management, as we reinvent our industry, compliance really does matter. So this is great for every manager and leader. It's a great video. And we really designed it so for every loan officer. It's going to help you be a better team member as we reinvent this industry and we turn compliance into a competitive advantage. And then I released my first wow selling video yesterday. So this just hit the community. For most of my adult life has been around selling, and when we founded Mortgage Coach, it was all about how do we systemize the wow. So I actually reserved this domain, wow selling, 15 plus years ago, and the name of the company that owns Mortgage Coach is called Wow Tools. So it's been something I've been passionate about, and I'm not committing to weekly updates, even monthly updates, but when I think I have something valuable to tell you and to teach you around how to be a better salesperson, how to do wow selling, stay tuned for some videos coming in. And then our most recent, it literally is getting released today, is Weekly Talking Points for Bill Fisher. And Bill Fisher is a college professor. He's a student of the mortgage industry. He's a self-proclaimed and self-made economist. The guy has a really unique way with words, a very awesome perspective on bringing market commentary. In fact, when I was a mortgage professional, this was my guy. Before there was other leaders and speakers evangelizing your rates and different newsletters, I had something called the info fax, back when fax machines were still used. And Bill Fisher created my weekly commentary. So I used to send a fax to all my CPAs, financial planners, and realtors every week, and Bill Fisher was the content that drove that. And so it's great to have him creating an audio video, bringing his weekly talking points to life. So don't miss this. It launched today. So a follow-up to today's call, as we have every Thursday, we have a training call at 9 o'clock. Today is going to be all about, or excuse me, Thursday is going to be all about Rate Watch. So we're going to talk about how to install it, how to use it, how to leverage it in meetings. We're going to have Tony Blodgett, an executive in the mortgage industry who's been a top producer. He's been a sales manager. He's been a VP of sales. He's president of the company. And he's going to talk about how to be a market leader and how to leverage Rate Watch in realtor meetings. So don't miss Thursday's our training program at 9 o'clock. So let's get into today's content. Today, in the next 25 minutes, is all about being a leader to realtors. So quick pulse check from everybody. How often do you speak to large groups of realtors? Please answer the poll question, answer it quickly so we can get into the meat of the content. But I want to know, how often are you presenting ideas, concepts, providing a teaching to realtors? By the way, we're at about 50% of you that have voted, and anybody who knows my coaching calls, I don't move on until we get to 70%. I want to have a statistically valid survey, so let's push it, guys. We're at 67%. You holdouts, let's get it across the line. Don't want to spend too much time on this. 68%. One more push, 70%. Boom. So here's the results, guys. 43% said never. 11% said weekly. 25% said monthly, and 20% said yearly. So my takeaway on this is 60% of the people on this call, you're already doing this. You're having meetings with realtors. 40% are never doing it. And my guess is that a large reason is just confidence. If you had more confidence about delivering amazing content, maybe a percentage of you would. And I'm sure a percentage of you won't. And I'm not here to really overly evangelize that you should. Other than, to me, again, no one was ever more afraid to speak in public than me. I mean, I could spend 5 minutes on my backstory, but when I was in speech in college and the professor told us that we were going to lose a grade if we didn't do our, big speech in public, I was willing to lose a grade over it. So no one's been more afraid than me, but I've overcome it, and I think it's a powerful thing to do. So we've got two amazing guests that are going to talk about how to be leaders. We're going to do two really solid teachings. I want to remind everybody of the conversation I've been having around the challenger sale. It's all around tailoring, teaching, and controlling the sale. And the key is all about getting your realtors to say, wow, I never thought of it that way before. So my goal is with these next two presenters, after their presentation, you're going to go, I never thought of that in that way before. So our first special guest is Dmitri, and Dmitri is going to share a little bit about his background, and he's going to share his realtor meeting, really a 10-minute realtor meeting about the inbox and how that information overload, that place that we all spend way too much time, we're way too distracted. I don't know about you, but how often are you like walking, and next thing you know, you got your iPhone and you're looking at emails. We're out of control with the inbox, and Dmitri is going to help us get in control. So Dmitri, before I give you the screen, why don't you just give us a little bit about your backstory?
Sure thing. So I started my career in investment banking back when it was still cool. Did that for a couple of years, and then joined the Overture team, which is a company that invented search advertising, which Google then later stole from us. So I did that for about 6 or 7 years. And we also got acquired by Yahoo in the process, so I spent most of the time at Yahoo. Got the startup bug and launched my first startup, which wasn't terribly successful, but it was a great learning experience. Then started thinking about the email, kind of the email overload in this email space that I'm in now, and realized that the problem of email is only getting worse. So we built SaneBox 3 years ago. And since then, it's been growing very, very fast because more and more people are literally drowning in their email every day.
So Dmitri, I'm going to share the screen with you. You've got an awesome backstory. Everybody think about it. You've got a very successful entrepreneur who started a company to help with email management. He's going to give you a teaching as though he was going to be presenting to a group of realtors around how to be smarter and manage our inboxes more effectively. Again, I realize that is not a complete connection to how do I get more loans. But here's what I know for sure. If you can teach people things that they didn't know, if you can get people to look at things that are important to them in ways that they haven't thought before, that's how you build trust, that's how you build credibility, and that's how you differentiate yourself in the marketplace. So Dmitri, rock it out. Give us a teaching around how can we provide leadership to realtors around better managing their inbox.
Sounds good. And by the way, Dave, so one of the other reasons I think this is a great audience for us is real estate realtors are a huge part of our audience. For some reason, the realtors are particularly overloaded with email, and so that's one of our biggest categories. Can everybody see my screen now?
Boom.
Awesome. Let me get this out of the way. Perfect. So how to beat your inbox. Most of us don't think of it this way, that if something needs to be beaten, because I think a lot of us are still stuck in the 1998 mentality of when you've got mail came out. Right? The excitement really is no longer there. Now we've got far too much mail. And if you think that you're the only one struggling from this, that couldn't be further from the truth. So there's been a ton of studies done on this. According to McKinsey, the study done last year, 28% of our time, or 13 hours a week, is spent on just processing your inbox. Right? So not actually sending emails to your clients or creating business, but reactively dealing with things that are in your inbox. And according to our own data at SameBox, we know that about 60%, 58% exactly, of an average inbox is actually noise. It's stuff that you never open, and it's usually just gets deleted in bulk. And so add to this that getting to processing your email is nowhere in your job description. Right? This all compounds to a very painful situation. And so what you'll see in this deck is a few actionable tips that you can share with your realtor partners. And again, I'll post this deck on the Mortgage Coach Facebook page, so you'll be able to grab it and share it in your next meeting. And again, realtors are particularly overloaded with emails, so I'm sure they'll appreciate it. So over the last 3 years since we've been working on SameBox, I talked to a ton of people, dealt with a ton of email issues, and I came up with these, I call them 3 email commandments. So commandment number 1 is email is like Tetris. No matter how good you are and how fast you're dealing with it, more emails will keep coming, and you will eventually lose, like in the game of Tetris. You can never win. And if you think about it, the volume of email is increasing every month. And so if today you spend 13 hours a week dealing with email, but the volume of email is increasing, so 10 years from now, there's still only going to be 24 hours in a day. So you will continue spending more and more time. So unless you want to completely get sucked into the email wormhole, something has to change, and that something is you. It's your processes and how you think about email. So commandment number 1, email should not be your number 1 priority. Sorry, commandment number 2, email should not be your number 1 priority. For most people, most of us, email kind of snuck into our life over the last couple of years or few years, and it went from taking up 0 hours a week to 13 hours very, very quickly. And the reason is that we don't realize this, but email has become our number 1 priority. It's the first thing we do when we wake up. You get sucked into it, and because it feels so productive. You have 100 emails, you go through 90 of them, and you feel like you've accomplished something. It feels very good, but actually couldn't be further from the truth. You didn't accomplish anything. In fact, email is or your inbox, better said, is a to-do list that other people write on for you. So if your number 1 priority is clearing your inbox, that means you're dealing with other people's priorities, not your own. So it's very important to dedicate blocks of time during the day to dealing with email. So what I try to do is wake up in the morning, scan my inbox for, and actually this leads us to commandment number 3, of how you should actually deal with it. So when you are, first thing in the morning, scan your inbox for urgent and important emails. So these are items that you need to deal with right away. I try to get these out of the way quickly. Then I close my inbox and only open it in my dedicated block of time. It depends on my schedule, depends on what I have to do that day. But in those blocks of time, it's time to deal with non-urgent and important emails. So these are the items that can wait until later today. And so once I deal with those, or actually before I get to those, I scan through my unimportant folder. And so I use SaneBox, which automatically filters unimportant, kind of the noise out of my inbox for me. I can scan through those items very quickly and delete everything in bulk. So the only items that are left in my inbox are important things that I need to deal with today. All right, so this is actually a prettier way to share the same story. And this is the most important slide of all of them here. Most people don't realize that inbox zero, if you've heard of inbox zero, it's kind of a growing movement online. And most people think it's just the act of having no emails in your inbox. That's actually not true. Inbox zero is a process for getting to zero in emails in your inbox consistently. And what it really means is that there are only 5 possible actions you can take with each email. Delete, delegate, defer, respond, or do. If an email is unimportant, you should delete it right away after scanning the from and the subject line without actually opening it. Number 2, if there's somebody on your team who, the poor soul that can deal with your emails you don't want to deal with, just forward it on to them. If an email is important but not urgent, meaning you don't have to, or it's so not urgent that you don't have to deal with it today, you need to move it out of your inbox until it's actionable. Number 4, if it takes less than 2 minutes to respond, you should do it right now, meaning in your dedicated block of time. Not right now, meaning when you first open it in the morning. And finally, number 5 is actually doing stuff. So the only emails left in your inbox are the ones you need to deal with today and the ones you will deal with today. Everything else should be moved out of your inbox. And if you're familiar with GTD, this will look familiar to you as well. This is actually based very closely on the GTD, the Getting Things Done principles. All right. We wrote an ebook, which the URL you see here. It's bit.ly/100 hacks. These are 100 email hacks. So we kind of scoured the earth, talked to a lot of our customers, and came up with 100, again, small but very actionable, very helpful tips to help you deal with your email and hate your inbox a little less. So I selected 5 of my favorite tips from the ebook here, and you can find the rest of them at the link. So number 1, forwarding multiple email accounts to one inbox. We have lots of customers who have 5, 6, 7 email accounts that they log into regularly. This is just terrible. In fact, even if you have, I have all of my accounts forwarded into one inbox. This link here will lead you to instructions on how to do it. We're not going to go through it now, but it's very straightforward. Super critical. Please forward your emails into one inbox. It will make your life much better. Number 2, poor man's backup. Eventually, at some point in your life, something will go wrong. You will lose your email. Your computer will crash, et cetera, et cetera. If you simply, there's lots of tools to back up your email and to have a kind of a second version. But the easiest thing to do is just to forward your email to another email account. So just forward it to, set up a Gmail account and have everything forwarded there. This way, if anything goes wrong, if your account gets hacked, if your computer fries, you always have all of your emails in another place. Number 3, equally important. Passwords are nowadays become critical to your security. Every week, one of my friends gets hacked, which probably doesn't speak highly for my friends, but it's an increasing issue. LinkedIn got hacked not so long ago. And a major service will get hacked sometime this year. And if you have a non-unique and a simple password for that service, your password will, will be in the wrong hands. So what's very important is to use a unique and unhackable password for your services. And if you want to be really safe, try 1Password. It's a application that sits on your computer and generates and stores very long, very hard to guess unique password for each of your services. And then this, again, this is a link to a blog post on how to create an unhackable password. But the simple way is to create a mnemonic. This is Billie Jean is not my lover. She's just a girl who claims that I am the one. Very, as you can see, very difficult to guess. Very easy for you to remember. Number 4, bolding key sentences. So now we're getting to being better at actually communicating. If you're sending an email that's even a handful of sentences or a paragraph, there's going to be a lot of messages in there. So if you bold the key words or key sentences or parts of the email that you want the recipient to take away, bold them. It's going to make you a much better communicator, and it will make the recipient's job much easier. Number 5, how many times did you send an email with quick fingers before you were actually done? It's happened to me a couple times, and frankly, 1 is too many. There's this really simple way to avoid it. Just don't enter the to line. Don't enter the to address right away until you're done. Just start typing it, and then fill in the address when you're done, when you're ready to hit send. So 96 other things like this in our ebook, bit.ly/100 hacks.
Hey, Dmitri, before you jump to this next slide, I want to just hit a few items on this. So everybody, I hope everybody has had at least one idea that you're like, oh, that would be useful for me. And it's either a reminder, it's something you've heard before, but you're not doing it, and you should be doing it. And 2, whether you actually, my message here isn't necessarily you're going to do a full realtor meeting and it's purely about inbox management. I mean, the takeaway here is there are some ideas, there are some tactics that could provide leadership and value to you personally, and that could be integrated into a meeting. So whether or not, just like telling a joke at the beginning, give a tip at the beginning. I believe that these ideas are valuable personally, and they're great when you're bringing leadership. I'm all about teaching people new things. The more new things that are useful, the better. And yes, for some of you that have passion around this, and you're already doing weekly and monthly meetings, this might be a great idea for one to add to your, one of your 50 realtor meetings a year. Let's do one on how to be smarter and better around email. And one more thing, Dmitri, before you share kind of some insights on SaneBox. In the world of email management, I want to remind everybody, you're all Mortgage Coach members, and you want to drive mobile experiences. So part of that email management for the realtor is to say, hey, when you refer me a client, I'm creating an edge experience. I'm emailing it to the borrower. I'm putting you in the loop so that now you know exactly what I showed and what I told them. So part of your email management strategy in your meeting is how can they be more efficient and effective, and how can they do a better job of handing off business to you. That's another one, guys. Make sure you add that to your meeting, that when they email and introduce you to a client, it's not just a, Dave, meet such and such. Make sure the best of the best, they really put a lot of thought and time into teaching and training their referral partners to make a really quality referral, so that by the time that person calls you, they're excited. They're not just calling for a rate quote. They're calling for a mortgage experience. So I want to just make sure you get this in the context, you get some takeaways, you add Mortgage Coach email strategies, like putting the realtor in the loop, like making sure that you're getting a great introduction with your referrals, and go ahead, Dmitri, share how everybody can learn more about SaneBox, a tool that I'm very passionate about, and let's keep the teaching going.
Sure thing. And just by the way, to add to your point, Dave, lead by example. So when you send that email out to your to everybody in the loop, bold kind of the key takeaway. Right? And this is going to trust me. This is I've been doing this for over a year now, and I see people kind of picking it up from me, and everyone loves this tip, bolding key sentences. So this is kind of a bonus slide. So at SaneBox, we built a couple of tools, but the most important one is we move unimportant emails out of your inbox and summarize them in the digest. So that's the Same Later feature, and it basically helps you delete unimportant emails in bulk. The black hole, this is another folder you can create, and if you drag an email to the black hole, you'll never hear from that person again. It's basically like unsubscribing. Delegating, when you forward an email to someone, you can set a reminder for yourself that if you don't hear back, or if it doesn't get done by a certain time, you will see a reminder in your inbox. We have what we call snooze folders. You can drag an email to a folder called tomorrow or next week, and it will reappear in your inbox tomorrow morning or Monday morning. You can also make custom links. So it's the same for responding. When you respond to someone and you add a reminder to it, if you don't hear back by a certain time, we'll remind you. And then finally, number 5. This is kind of my favorite tip here. So while we can't actually do the work for you, my favorite thing to do is at the end of the day, when when I did everything I could, I drag all of my outstanding emails into the Same Tomorrow folder, and I finish the day with inbox 0. I know it's kind of it's a trick, because tomorrow morning they will be back in my inbox, but it still feels very productive, and I think it's good for my psyche to do this. So yeah, this is just kind of a bonus. Sign up. You can sign up for SaneBox at sanebox.com. And honestly, if you have any issues with email, we're happy to address them, whether or not we've built them already or that's something we're looking for. In fact, Dave has been a great idea for or providing feedback for us, and we're implementing some of his suggestions as we speak.
All right. So Dmitri, it's been an awesome session. I'm a passionate user of the product and have been for a couple of years. I'm not exaggerating when I say it saves me clicking the delete button 1,000 times a week, and it helps me assign follow-up so that things don't slip through the cracks. So, there's no doubt you save me at least a half hour every day. I referred Bill Hart, who many of you know, and I'm not joking when I think literally every other time I see Bill, he thanks me for the introduction to SaneBox. So I'm passionate. I'm a fan. By the way, I put a link on our Facebook page in the conversation, in the comment section of this call, so you guys can see that. If you want to sign up, in full disclosure, I think you get a $5 discount and I get a $5 credit. So I do not have any equity or ownership in SaneBox. People have asked me that because I've had Dmitri on the call before, and they're like, "Man, you really, you're pushing that thing." And I'm like, "No, I'm passionate about it because it saves me time." And as loan officers and realtors, if we can save a half hour a day and be better about our follow-up, I feel that's a gift. I feel that's value. So I hope this 20-minute teaching from Dmitri that will help you personally be smarter and better about managing your inbox, and hopefully it will give you a few tips to bring to one of your realtor meetings to help you be a better leader and a better teacher. Dmitri, any last comments before we bring Tom into the show?
No, that's all I had. Thanks for having me.
Well, if you could stay on the call in case you have any feedback, you're now co-host with me as we bring Tom into the call and continue realtor meeting teachings. All right, I'm going to bring Tom Ninness into the meeting. He has been just a fantastic leader and friend for Mortgage Coach. He has referred countless of loan officers to use our product. He's always evangelized it, always believed that this is a better way to deliver advice. Tom is also a passionate teacher and leader to loan officers. He's a regional leader for a large mortgage company and one of our great clients. Tom, why don't you tell us a little bit about your career backstory so everybody has a feel for who you are and what you bring to the table in this conversation, and then we'll go through another way to provide leadership to realtors as we close out the year strong.
Again, thanks, Dave, for the opportunity to speak to the group today. I've been in the business for a long time. I started in October of 1980. So this is my 33-year anniversary at it. And I can tell you that when we're dealing with interest rates around 4.5%, that's pretty good, because the first day I came on the job, rates went from 12.5% to 13.5%. And I can tell you it's difficult to originate loans at that kind of interest rate. It took me 6 months to get my first deal in the door and never closed. I took the loan app at 16.5%, and by the time the guy came to sign his docs, it was 19%, and he shipped so bad that he couldn't sign them. But because I was at that time a young married father, I had one little boy, I was non-stop prospecting. And anybody who had a head and a couple arms, I told them what I did. And when rates came back down to 15.5%, I could see people starting to stick their toe in the water, and I started originating some business. And the company I worked for, and this was in Schaumburg, Illinois, said, you know, if you could produce in a couple of years, you could have a branch. And didn't mean I could manage, but I could produce. And almost 2 years to the day I started, I was transferred to Phoenix, Arizona, and did very well in that town. My wife wasn't real happy. She came in pregnant with our second son, and then gave birth to another son. All she was doing was baking babies for the 2 years. And at the time that she delivered our youngest son, who is now 29, she told me, you got to tell your company to relocate us because I don't want to be in this heat anymore. And that's how I got to Denver. So on November 15th, 29 years ago, is when I came into this town with 3 little boys and a stay-home wife, and I don't know anybody, and I've got to produce. And it's pretty interesting. The first slide you talk about is doing presentations with realtors, and that's how I was raised in this business. It was to get in front of realtors, realtor groups, do weekly meetings, and so I immediately joined the Aurora Board of Realtors and paid my $55, and they gave these crazy spreadsheets. And because I didn't know anybody, I looked at it and said, well, I've got to find some oysters in these shells, and so I put myself in a position to start doing one-on-one meetings, to doing real estate office meetings, and here I have, it was November 15th, I don't know a soul, I have 45 days to really jumpstart this business, and in my first year I closed $48 million of production. And so it is so important to be in front of groups and show your stuff, because they can't be checking their voicemail, they're not supposed to be looking at their cell, they're concentrating on you, and you better know that you are on that stage. You better make sure you practice and be effective. And so I think over the 33 years, I probably have helped more than 9,000 families get into homes. I still originate. I've been blessed to be able to bring my youngest son into the business, and so he's definitely somebody I'm going to be able to hand this off to. And I am always going to be producing until I leave this industry, which, you know, I tell people I have probably a good decade of loans in me, and I hope I get to make a difference in as many lives as I can for the remainder of my career. So that's a little bit about Tom Ninness.
Nice, Tom. Well, great. Before I get into some of the questions that I'm going to ask you, a couple questions came in from Dmitri. And by the way, a couple people asked for his presentation. There will be a link to his presentation in the Facebook comment section after the call. So if you want to watch the recording, that'll be available on our YouTube channel, and that link will be there. But one question someone had, and I bet a lot of people are thinking this, in today's world, there's so many closed offices and so many MSA relationships out there. You know, how hard is it to get a meeting in today's market, and any advice you have to loan officers to get the meeting? I mean, we'll get into your teaching here within a minute, but if you could just spend a minute on, can we get the meeting, and how do we get the meeting?
You know, I mean, that's a great question, and the answer is yes, you can get into the meeting, but it's almost like, well, how do we create meetings that make sense for the broker to say, yes, I want to set that up for my brokers. For example, some of the meetings that I'm doing right now it's not about products. It's more of how can I help the agent sell more homes. And so, for example, I have one that's called Creating Satisfied Clients to Advocates. How do we make our closed clients an extension of our sales force, for example? How to market to past clients. How do we have systems to take suspects to prospects to clients? Helping the orphan clients that are out there, since there's a lot of realtors who have bandited past clients. How do we capture those people? So again, you got to have some classes that are significantly different than just updates on what's going on in the marketplace. I'm there to help them sell more homes.
Got it. So, by the way, I want everybody to know I recorded a call, coaching call with Scott Cummings several weeks ago. Look up the Scott Cummings call, and it was all about how he's doing a monthly breakfast meeting with literally no cost. Realtors are paying for their own meetings. He's just facilitating it at a local restaurant, and he gives you a formula. So I'm going to tell you, I've interviewed so many loan officers that are doing meetings, doing different types of workshops. You can do it. Yes, MSAs and in-house lenders are a challenge, but it's not an overwhelming challenge. It can be done. Listen to that call if it's something you're passionate about. So Tom, if you could explain your business model and your pillars of success. I've read your book. I've heard you speak. You and I have had countless conversations. What is your business model and what are your pillars of success?
So I have a business model that not only do I share with my loan originators that I get to coach and mentor, but also realtors and CPAs and financial planners, because I want to show them I'm significantly different than my competition. And so I use a business model called PROS. It's an acronym, P-R-O-S. And the P is how do you and I grow a perpetual business no matter what kind of market we're in. The R is referral based. And the goal is to make everybody an extension of my sales force. The O is your operations. And what's key about operations is that, if we don't deliver what we're saying out there, then it's just words. And so it's important that you can share what your operations are from the time an application is taken to closing, and how are you going to touch that person after closing. The S is kind of thinking outside the box, but I want to make my business so that it is sellable, and so that I can create an annuity. And for most realtors and most CPAs, and they might not be able to figure out, well, how do you do that? But even if they didn't, if they created and had what I call the CEO attitude of their business, and that they could make something sellable, then they probably would do things differently. And so we have this acronym, but then we have these pillars. And the pillars I look at is there are 3 pillars to my business. And the first one is lead generation. And what do I do when a lead comes in, and how do I take them through that funnel of being just a name, a suspect? I call those C's. And how do I take them down to becoming a B and then to an A? Somebody's doing business now. And because I realize that every person that I talk to is not an A, and maybe 2 or 3% of them are A's, I might then have B's that are 2 to 4 months down the road where I'm finally going to do business, and C's are only God knows if I'm ever going to do business with them. But because they know, they say that the average person knows 250 people, then I want to make sure that I'm capturing their information and providing them information without any obligation. And that's where the law of reciprocity comes in. A wonderful book that I suggest everyone to read, if they haven't, they need to, is called Love is the Killer App by Tim Sanders. And he shares that his business model is kind of like a three-legged millstool. And the first thing is that people are looking for knowledge. And so here we have the knowledge, but if this middle leg, if we want to look at it, is a network. If we don't have a network to share it with or systems to share it with, then that third leg, if we want to share it and we're sharing it, we need to share it with compassion or no strings attached. And that's what Tom Ninness is all about, is that, you know, I want this large network. I want to give them information. I want to give it with compassion and no strings attached, so I can take people down the funnel of going from C's to B's to A's. So that's the first pillar. The second pillar is creating loyal fans, loyal clients for life. Jeffrey Gitomer wrote a wonderful book called Satisfied Clients Are Worthless, and that is so true. We want to create loyalty. But I also know that not every past client is going to be an A. Some people are just not, they don't have the bent to become great referral sources. And those are C's, so I'm still going to stay in touch with them, but I literally am trying to figure out through the process, and after I close, what do I have? Do I have an A or B or C? And I treat those people differently. And so that's the middle pillar. And the last pillar is creating professional referral sources, which are very important to all of us. And that is not only realtors, but we have builders and private banks and CPAs and financial planners, insurance agents, attorneys, HR directors. We know what those are. The thing is that how do we keep growing that? How do we stay in touch with them? And how do we take B's to become A's? And what do we do with our A's? And how do we take our C's to B's to A's in that area? And I'm fortunate. I take stats very seriously. And in my case, 41 to 48% of my business is coming from people I've already done business with, and 31% is coming from professional referral sources. And that's how you have a continual flow of leads. But you better make sure you handle them correctly. So that's my business structure.
Fantastic. So makes a lot of sense, obvious value. I can see how bringing that type of leadership to realtors would be valuable. So what are some of your daily disciplines, and I like to just call them habits for success? What are those? And put it in the context of how you would deliver that teaching in a realtor meeting or with realtors.
So one of the things that I do is I teach a monthly class called STARS. And it's a 2-hour class, and I go through daily disciplines with them. And I have created what is called a business transformational tracker that's in an Excel spreadsheet. If somebody who's listening to this would like a copy of this, I would be more than happy to send it to you. So you can gear the daily disciplines that are more in line to what you're trying to accomplish. So here's mine. And the first thing I have people do is we try to calculate what is your hourly rate. And I really try to get a big number. Let's say it's $250,000, and I have them, you know, calculate, well, let's say we're going to take 3 weeks off. We're going to work 50 hours a week. What is your hourly rate? And I want them to concentrate that the actions and the tasks and the disciplines are going to produce that kind of result. And then I share with them what is Tom Ninness's daily disciplines. And my goal is to create 3 face-to-face appointments every day. I spend about an hour each day on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very important to me. And if the listeners on here are not connected with me on LinkedIn, please send me an invite. And then you're going to see what I send as my response when people accept my LinkedIn invitation or I accept theirs. And so I have a folder on my desktop. It has different responses, so I can cut and paste. If you're not using LinkedIn successfully, then I suggest you get a couple of books really learn about it, because it is becoming more and more of what a website is. When people are looking you up, they're going to LinkedIn to see, well, what is this guy all about? So I spend an hour on LinkedIn.
Hey Tom,
yes.
real quick, are there any, you said read some books, are there any specific books, one or two, that you think are best?
You know, I don't have that list in front of me, but, you know, myself, you know, I go to the public library where I live. There's a half a dozen books. You know, I'm sure there's a LinkedIn for dummies. But,
Got it.
But you need to start getting educated. I've gone to a number of classes.
Yeah, no doubt. And I would just tell everybody on the call, and I think many of you are, it's pretty rare that I come across mortgage professionals nowadays that don't have a professional presence. You know, it's a well thought out LinkedIn strategy. I do want to do a shout out if there's anybody on this call and you're really killing it with LinkedIn, you're using it in a way that you think is really valuable, you're closing more than 5 loans a month. They don't all have to be from LinkedIn, but I need to, you know, people that I showcase in these calls are usually closing over 8 loans a month. But if you're a top producer, you're consistently closing over 5, you've got an awesome LinkedIn strategy, shoot me an email, Dave@MortgageCoach. I am always trying to bring that type of leadership to these calls, and Tom, you and I will talk about that. But there's no doubt LinkedIn is a valuable resource, and I mean I use it, like I don't use it an hour a day, but I don't think there's a day where I don't spend at least 15 minutes prepping before meetings, reviewing it. It's valuable. So stay tuned for more content around LinkedIn. Remember, if you're using it and you're doing it well, email me, Dave@MortgageCoach. Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, and let me just tell you, just briefly on your LinkedIn response, it has to have the 4 parts to it of marketing. And first, it's got to interrupt. Most of the people that I accept on a LinkedIn, they don't do anything. So you want to make sure you have something that interrupts them. You want to provide information. You want to have an offer of take action or something for free and your contact information. And like I said, if you would like to invite me, I'd be more than happy then to send you my response. Then I go into the phone calls. Now, if somebody calls my office, they're going to find out, it sounds like Tom's a very busy guy. I change my voicemail at least 1 time a day, if not a couple times a day. And one of those appointments is a phantom call. I have to make my phone calls. I have to call 4 past clients a day. I have to call 2 current clients that I'm working on. I have to call 4 of my current professional referral sources and 2 that I'm bringing into the fold. Those are the things that I have to do. It's a phantom appointment when somebody listens to it on my voicemail, but I know I have to do those things. I go to at least 1 networking event every week. I try for 2. And the second one is to get in front of a group and speak. I have what is called a 50-butt rule. Wherever 50 butts are, I hope my butt's in front of them, and I hope I'm speaking. And so that is something that is a major goal for me. I continue to speak in as many groups as I can. And then I send 2 thank yous a day. You can't say thank you enough, and so during the weekends I'll prepare those to get them off on Monday. I try to find somebody a referral. It's not just about me receiving referrals. I try to find them. I try to do a recommendation on LinkedIn every day, because this is the bottom line. I am trying to get a certain amount of leads every week, and I know what my leads are that I need, how many deals I need to close, and so it's just a formula, and this formula is what helps me get the numbers that I need. So those are my daily disciplines.
Well, I love the goal to give a referral every day. I love that recommendation on LinkedIn. I have not been able to create that rhythm, but I think it's an awesome one. The only thing I would tell people is make sure it's quality, it's from the heart, and it's real. You know, don't just have kind of a turnkey way that you give recommendations for people. I see folks doing that, and you know, if it's insincere and if it's not on point and really, you know, from your heart, don't do it. Only do it in a really relevant way. So, hey, we've only got a few minutes left. I want to make sure we talk about your 90-day program. Also, if you could kind of hit on some of the, you know, some of the way Mortgage Coach members, I mean, you've been a Mortgage Coach leader for years, what are some of the ways Mortgage Coach can help create opportunity and help people really finish the year strong? Let's face it, we're getting into that time of year where it's close the year strong time. What are some of your ideas?
I love this time of year. You know, most people that I compete against tend to settle down. You know, the days become shorter, the weather becomes cooler, and some people have the mindset that, well, nobody's going to be buying houses now. You know, the time period is to buy is June, July, August, September. I love their mindset. I almost want to send them a thank you. Keep thinking that way. And for me, I crank it up. I set up more appointments. I get in front of more people. And the listeners need to think that way for the remainder of the year. Because if you don't, then you're going to end up being like everybody else and not finishing up strong. Because if we have consistent actions and habits and disciplines and dollar productive activities during these last times, then I can tell you you're going to finish strong and you're going to have an incredible start to the new year. And so here's where you can start getting to that 250 people that you know right now, those people that you have an intimate relationship, and calling them and finding out who their CPA is and who their financial planner is. And if you've got friends, ask them this question, is that if you were thinking about listing or selling your home, who would that realtor be and why? And don't be surprised if they don't have a realtor and they're looking to come up and sell their home in the near future. Now you've got a referral. But you have to do these disciplines. And when you're getting these CPAs and financial planners names, then you have a reason to call them and show your stuff and show them what the edge is all about and be significantly different than your competition. You know, we're trying to throw as big of a net as we can right now, and here's a wonderful time to get in front of people, because I can tell you the majority of the people you and I are competing against are not on this call, and they are not doing the actions and disciplines they need to have a great finish and a wonderful start to 2014.
Beautiful. So again, really clear messaging, guys. It's time to get on the phone with people, have massive action. I would say as a mortgage coach leadership, drive all your realtors through that mobile experience. Make sure that they know every time they send you a referral, first-time home buyer analysis, let me show you how I do that. You know, move-up analysis for someone that's upgrading lifestyle, well, I'm going to show you how the mortgage and how that's going to help you financially. So, and make sure that they understand to drive that through a mobile experience. Can't emphasize enough how important, how valuable that is. And with the CPAs and financial planners, make sure they understand how you're an advisor, not a rate quoter. And as we go into the final months, weeks of the year, it's critical that you increase your activity. So Tom, I know you're very passionate about closing the year strong. You've built a lot of leadership. You've built content. You've written a book. I mean, it's not really a book. It's a workbook that will help people go through this 90-day journey as originators and bring this leadership to realtors. So if you could, you know, just quickly in a minute, describe what this 90-day journey is.
That's great. You know, I saw what the world was going to, and I saw what our industry was going to be challenged about, and I always put myself on a 90-day journey every 3 months of the year. I look at this business more quarterly than on an annual basis. And so what I did is I decided a couple of years ago to invite the world to join me on a journey, because being on a journey by yourself is not very fun. And to make a real long story short, I had over 6,000 people contact me and says, Tom, I want to join you on this journey. It was like, yikes, I didn't know I was going to have to help 6,000 people on the way, but I did. And every day those people received action plans, disciplines, and at the end of that journey, I created a book, and so it's called The 90-Day Journey to Your Sales Success. There's a mortgage edition, there's a real estate edition, and a sales professional edition, and it's not for the weak. It gives somebody 90 straight days of a plan. And it's about 400 pages. It includes a workbook and journal. I'm very big on journaling, especially where you and I can share our struggles, our challenges, and our victories. And if it's true that it takes 21 days to form a habit, just think what will happen if you create a 90-day plan. So to learn more, just go to summitchampions.com, and you can learn more about what I put together.
Yeah, and everybody, I put a link to Tom's website, so in the comment section of the Facebook post for this call. Again, remember, every week we are letting you know who's going to be on the call. We're giving you some context so you know what the topic is and who the leaders are, and I have put a link to that. So I've also put a link to get a free trial of SaneBox. I've put a link to RateWatch, again, something that I am passionate about in terms of valuable for you. Make sure you're watching Dan Arawich's morning video. Make sure you're watching Bill Hart every week. Make sure you watch Todd Duncan when we get the honor of having Todd create a video exclusively for the Mortgage Coach community. Ken Perry, again, I can't emphasize enough, as mortgage professionals, compliance matters. How you take what's changing in the market, you embrace it, you make it simple, and you do it right, it's important. It's important for your company, your organization, and we're here to provide leadership. And again, let's not forget about selling. We are here to sell, and I'm going to cover that for you when I have something valuable. Again, got to love Bill Fisher. I'd love to hear some feedback. Send me an email at Dave@MortgageCoach. What did you think? I mean, it's a little different. I mean, Bill has a very unique way of providing market commentary, so I would love any feedback on that. I want to remind everybody, drive mobile experiences. This is a great way to be leaders. Make sure you've made your own mobile experiences for a first-time home buyer, for a move-up home buyer, for people that are shopping for homes and you're showing them 3 different comparisons. If you need any help, as I've told you before, and I keep saying it, everybody in our organization is a mobile expert. Everybody has an iPad. We use it in our business day, and we're here to train you. Every Tuesday, it'll be sales meeting with ideas at 9 o'clock in the morning, like today. Every Thursday, it's going to be all about training you, teaching you, and training you to take action on these ideas. So as I said at the beginning, this week is all about RateWatch. Notice if you go to our Mortgage Coach website at Mortgage Coach, you click on the support page and you put in RateWatch, it tells you how to get started with it. So if you have not downloaded it, here's a shortcut to go and do that and start using it. So do not miss this Thursday's training call if you are not already using RateWatch. It's important, it's valuable. Let us know. We're trying to add more value to our Facebook page. Engage with us. If you like what we're doing, let us know, like it. If you have a comment or a question, Tom and Dmitri will be monitoring this today. So if you have a question for one of them, just post it. I know a few people mentioned some books. Chris Chambers, thank you for recommending that book. I'm trying to find it, but if you could post that link to that. I got so many questions from today's call, I don't see it really quickly. I want to thank both guests. Thank you so much for your time to prepare for this call. If everybody could please give us a vote. What did you think of today's call on a scale of good to great? Let us know what you thought of today's call. And I think we're going to wrap it up. We don't have time for questions. Dmitri, thank you for your teaching. Tom, thank you for the time that you spent to share. I am grateful. You guys still here?
Yep.
All right.
Thank you. And again, thanks, Dave. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. It was great insight, great value. And thanks for all the survey questions being answered, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week with another awesome call here in the Mortgage Coach community.
The organizer has ended the session, and this call will be disconnected. Goodbye.